Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with EddieFrederick. Here's EddieFrederick.
So glad you can join us. Vaccination numbers in Trinidad and Tobago regarded abysmal. This story takes center stage in today's edition of Caribbean Perspective for Wednesday, 11th August 2021. Details when we return.
Hubbard's big promotion is back. Live free for 1 year. Spend $50 or more in any Hubbard's department and receive a chance to win big prizes every month. Property or vehicle insurance for 1 year. Free internet, cable and data for 1 year. Free fuel for 1 year. Free cooking gas for 1 year. Free electricity for 1 year. Free drinks for 1 year. Extra cash account and the big free groceries for 1 year. Promotion runs from April 1st to September 30th, 2021. Live free for 1 year with Hubbard's in association with Solgas, Flow, Grenadian General Insurance, Carib Brewery, Coca-Cola, Grenada Bottling Company, Grenlec, Communal Cooperative Credit Union, Dutch Lady Milk, Promo, Danny and Supreme. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back. Health Minister Terence Dialsing of Trinidad and Tobago is encouraging the rest of the population to take advantage of the free and easily accessible vaccination drives across the country. He described the current vaccination rate as abysmal and not where the government had hoped to be at this stage. Cindy Raghubatika Singh of TV6 News reports.
By now, we should have been touching approximately 500,000 first dose. We are at 415,826, 30% of the population.
Health Minister Terence Dialsing says there has been a significant slowing in the rate of vaccinations across the country.
You wanted to know how this average went. At one time, between the 21st of July, 22nd, 23rd, we were averaging 15,000 a day, which was brilliant. Then that cut in half from the 24th, 25th, 26th to about 8,009. That was tolerable. Now, for this week, we are down to 4,005. That is abysmal. That is abysmal. When you consider that the vaccines are now within walking distance, it is free. You don't have to line up. You don't have to make an appointment. Just get vaccinated.
However, as they begin the rollout of the 84,000 AstraZeneca shots donated by the Canadian government, Dialsing says people now have a choice and he hopes it will boost the numbers turning out over the next few weeks.
31,330 of these are expiring by the end of August. So we have just under 2 to 3 weeks to get these out into arms. The other 50,700 will be expiring at the end of October 31st. So it fits in basically with the 8 to 12 week window that we have between AstraZeneca first dose and second dose.
A hotline and website are expected to be set up on Sunday specifically for those interested in the AstraZeneca shots, which will be available at 9 mass vaccination sites from Monday. And while walk-ins would be accepted, those with appointments will be prioritized. Meanwhile, Minister Dialsing says appointments for second dose AstraZeneca and first dose Sinopharm will continue. Locations for each program can be confirmed via the ministry's various social media platforms. Minister Dialsing also reminded the population that while the more than 10 mass vaccination sites come at a financial cost, the cost would be far greater if the population does not make use of what's available.
It costs whichever entity it is, whether it's a RHA or the chamber, $75,000 to $100,000 a day to run a mass vac site for the population. So the only return on investment we are asking for is not a monetary return. We are asking for people to come and get vaccinated.
Cindy Raghubatika Singh, TV6 News.
There is a call from the president of the Tobago Business Chamber, Martin George, for government to legislate for mandatory vaccinations. More from TV6's Elizabeth Williams.
By simply having legislation that mandates that all staff, workers and personnel interacting with these bars, business places and places of entertainment must be fully vaccinated, and that the patrons themselves must also be fully vaccinated.
Mr. George said the government must be innovative and bold in moving forward.
And the government must not be afraid to, step up to the plate and take the decision to bring that legislation to the table.
Despite the repercussions of protest action against similar legislation in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, George says the government must lead from in front.
And we urge the Prime Minister and the government to lead by example, show the nation that all the government ministers, all the government members of parliament are vaccinated. Let them come on TV, let them come on the media and show that they have been vaccinated.
Elizabeth Williams, TV6 News.
Let vaccinated people get on with their lives and let unvaccinated people continue in lockdown. This is a suggestion of one business association, as it seems a significant percentage of the population continues to resist COVID vaccination in Trinidad and Tobago. Meanwhile, the head of one of the business chamber continues to call for mandatory vaccinations as part of what he calls a double-pronged vaccination approach. Vanessa Cutting of TV6 News has more.
With pleas from both the public and private sectors for persons to embrace COVID vaccination falling on deaf ears, one businessman is advocating for vaccinated persons to be allowed to get on with their lives.
But my advice is to the government and to the MOH that if that happens and that pool of unvaccinated, that large population of unvaccinated does not shrink, then in the next lockdown that is sure to come, do not have essential and non-essential. Please change the Public Health Act to say vaccinated businesses and vaccinated workers could open and stay open, and unvaccinated people could stay at home and look after themselves and protect themselves until something better happens or something that they're more comfortable with.
The businessman says the debate on whether a mandatory vaccination policy takes away one's civil liberties is an irrelevant argument, as the real conversation should be the liberties being taken away by the virus.
What is at stake here primarily is your life and the life of your family members. After that, what is at stake here is the economy. What is at stake here is business. What is at stake here is jobs. About whether or not your children will ever leave the house ever again and live a normal life. About whether daycares are going to open and preschools are going to open and parents can come back out to work. I mean, COVID is slowly destroying the social fabric and the economic fabric of our nation, Trinidad and Tobago.
Meantime, head of the Tobago Business Chamber, Martin George, is calling on the Ministry of Health to do more in terms of communication and persuasion before moving towards mandatory vaccination.
We could try to use our stars, use, Cass, Marshall, all these people, let them, do some promotions, try to reach the public. So you go with both approaches. You both have the carrot to encourage people, and for those who just are, totally obstinate for no reason, then you have to use the stick of the mandatory vaccination. So you use a double-pronged approach, but you make it clear that persuasion is the best option.
However, George says if government goes the route of mandatory vaccination, persons should be given the option of applying for exemptions for religious or health reasons.
Previously, our problem was we didn't have vaccines. Now we have vaccines, but we don't have the uptake. So then what's the point of having the vaccines? The vaccines have an expiry date, so therefore you can't keep them too long, otherwise they're going to be expired. So in other words, what are we to do? Are we going to sit down on our 800,000 doses and sit down and watch them expire while people come up with, some absurd and inane theories, that it was designed to kill black people, or, you will die in 3 years, or, come on.
Vanessa Cutting, TV6 News.
The hurricane season is now upon us, so we as Caribbean people people need to remember to think safety and be prepared. Avoid venturing outside during a storm or hurricane, especially if there are strong winds. Rooftops and other debris are often blown about and can cause great damage.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with EddieFrederick.
The 56-year-old woman charged with unlawfully and maliciously wounding Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves of St. Vincent and the Grenadines on Thursday last during a fiery protest in Kingstown claims she is innocent.
The Prime Minister suffered a concussion after being hit with an object in the head on Thursday as he was making his way to Parliament. The incident occurred during protests against the Public Health Act. Accused vendor Anna May Lewis appeared before the magistrate's court today and was granted bail in the sum of $3,000 EC, and her case was adjourned until September 15th.
I'm innocent. I am innocent. I was forced to be. I am innocent of this. I am so innocent. I did not fire no stone after the Prime Minister. May God have his mercy upon my life. Thank you.
But the question is, Mr. Lewis, that you would ask, why would you give a statement?
I was forced. I just said I was forced because I was forced. No, as soon as the police take me from my home, they have me back up at hospital, and from there,
okay?
Yes.
In other news, former Prime Minister of Antigua and Barbuda, Celeste Bird, died on Monday morning.
Acting Prime Minister Stedroy Benjamin, in consultation with Prime Minister Gaston Brown, who returns home today, has ordered that all flags be flown at half-mast, beginning immediately. Planning for a state funeral has also commenced. Celeste Bird was the second Prime Minister of Antigua and Barbuda, who served from 1994 to 2004, and he was also a well-recognized athlete. Sir Bird's political career began in 1971. He was nominated for the Antigua and Barbuda Senate. He was also named the chairman of the ALP and leader of the opposition in that Senate.
Barbados' acting Prime Minister Santia Bradshaw has described the passing of former Prime Minister of Antigua and Barbuda, Lester Bird, as a loss not only to his country, but for the wider Caribbean.
Bradshaw said Celeste's passing will no doubt leave a significant void on the political landscape of that nation and the Antigua Labour Party, as well as the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States and the wider CARICOM region, which he served with honor. Celeste, who had been ailing for some time, passed away on Monday morning. A statement from the office of the Prime Minister in Antigua and Barbuda said that all flags will be flown at half-mast and the planning had already started for a state funeral on a date yet to be determined.
In the meantime, other tributes pour in from the region in the aftermath of his announced passing on Monday after prolonged illness at the age of 83.
The flag of the St. Lucia-based Organization of Eastern Caribbean States is being flown at half-mast for Celeste, who was its first chairman in 1982. He also served as chairman for a second time in 1989. OECS chairman and Grenada's Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell said the Caribbean has lost one of its illustrious sons, while Dominica's Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit said Celeste's contribution to the regional integration movement and the economic development of his homeland will long be remembered and honored. Guyana's President Dr. Irfan Ali and St. Lucia's Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre also paid tribute, as well as St. Kitts and Nevis Prime Minister Dr. Timothy Harris and many other top officials.
Did you know that your friends and family can now shop at the Food Fair from anywhere in the world, and you can receive here in Grenada? The Food Fair and GrenadaMarket.com now make it possible through secure online shopping and personalized customer service. Simply send your loved ones a list of your preferred items or let them fill an online basket, and the items will be available for pickup or delivery. Visit GrenadaMarket.com or thefoodfair.gd today for more details. The new norm. Spread the news.
I am EddieFrederick. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please continue to log on to CaribbeanPerspective.com for more daily news and more.